Alright, so we're here with the finals of the New Blood Play a New Deck tournament for the Invictous clan. And we are here with Corey piloting Satellanites and Albion playing Shaddolls. So this will be an interesting match. Shaddolls have a very strong matchup with the ability to open window. And Satellanites also have a pretty good match, all things considered, because Trigger is a very strong card against most things that Telnet can put on board that aren't fusions, considering they can pretty much negate all flip effects just by returning them to the hand, or stop flip effects from being relevant. And a relatively strong opening by the Shaddol player. Seeing a Shaddol player open Mathematician usually means they opened well. We'll probably see Squamata into Beast just for the +1. Unless we are looking for a turn 1 fusion into Winda, which means there may be a Hedgehog. But we'll see. Yeah, so big fan of Shaddolls. Think they're an incredibly strong deck when they open a fusion, which happens some of the time. I'm not 100% sure on any of these builds, but seeing that he added Beast, we'll probably see a interesting. No fusion. Alright, so the fact that he did not take the turn 1 Beast play means that he's probably... Actually, don't know what that means. To me, that's a misplay, but not being able to see the cards he set in the cards and the extra 2 cards that are in his hand means, again, I don't know what the situation was. But a opening of Unuk, not the strongest opening in the world, considering we only know the one monster. Could mean he has a Call Haunted, could mean he just didn't open any other monsters and no searches. But Unuk is generally a strong opening. This will be the right now in the meta, Mistake is a very relevant card. It does a lot against Telnites. Not Mistake's mainly against Necros, but also relevant against Telnites. In most popular meta versions of Shaddolls, this is their maining 2 Mistake, maybe 3, and no effect negation. So Invictus clan not known for the most standard deck lists, so we'll see what happens. Seeing Mistake will be a huge thing. I actually was able to watch the previous game that Corey played, and I do know he sides Shadow Imp, so this will be an interesting game. Yeah, so set 3, fairly standard. Would be surprised if he'd set less than 3. Yeah, so these games will probably be in 2 parts because the Shaddol games usually end up being more than 10 minutes, so we'll see. Yeah, so again, I'd be once again surprised to not see a fusion this turn, considering he did neglect the Beast last turn and then added it to his hand instead. So I was hoping to see a turn 1 Shaddol fusion where he then used the Beast as a material and drew. But really, any turn you're not resolving Beast in the first 3 or 4 turns of the game probably means you're doing something wrong. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so we saw that so we do see a fusion. Unuk actually did not attack, probably wanting to make sure that the Shaddol player didn't see as many draws as possible. I actually think that would be a misplay, because to me, Shek is actually, Shaddol Shek Naga is actually a big thing in this deck, because it would pretty much shut down all of the Satellanites. So I'm surprised he didn't attack, because that would probably remove his access to Shekinaga if he removed the Earth type off the field. Very bad play. Not exactly sure what the play is going to be. Vanities may be in at play. Maybe Nova. We'll see. Mind Crush. Is he going to Mind Crush Dragon? Because that's the only known one. Yeah, so I can see why he would consider this being a bad play. Pretty much he's taking the gamble that the 3 cards in his hand aren't all Falco. Oh, when he hit it. Oh, that's huge. Corey should be asking to see the hand, just to make sure there isn't a... Yeah, okay. So we're seeing the proper play. So Falco was actually a huge misplay. No, actually it's not, because Falco will resolve on a different chain link. So we know the dragon's in his hand, so if the other card in his hand isn't a Shaddoll monster, that fusion should fizzle. Not exactly sure what's going to happen. Yeah, so we're going to see... Okay, so it's Squamata Dragon. So risky play turned out to be horrible. So we're going to see Falco effect, Beast effect, Squamata effect resolving here, which will be pretty brutal if there's no Royal Command or other such card. Falco should resolve on its own chain, but I don't think that matters. Okay, so he's saying Falco, and then the chain of Beast and Squamata. Squall. Interesting. So, I'd actually like to see him not resolve Falco and try and go for a second, and try to go for some sort of... Okay, so he's gonna go Dragon. And see if he can push out another special summon, but considering he has no cards in his hand, I don't think one of his 2 set cards is El Shaddoll. So Dragon popping a back row. It's pretty safe to assume at this point that he does not have a Nova set. So Dragon probably just used because it was the last Shaddoll effect that he hasn't activated this turn. But this leaves our Shaddoll player in a pretty good spot. Oasis. Really would have liked to see the Oasis activated on the Squamata effect, knowing that he was going to send Dragon, so that he would resolve the Dayneb. But short of that, we're going to see Beast Falco. Now, Falco is really good in conjunction with things like Mathematician, because there is the option to go into Armades, which isn't really relevant in this matchup, but we could see maybe a construct into Leo, which again not relevant in this matchup because Trigger is such a big deal. But now you can see, is there an Honest or a Battle Trap? No. Deep Prison would have been really good, but short of that, we'll see what he can do. Again, Winda cripples Satel Knights because it's very hard for them to come up with an out. They would pretty much need Honest, and I'm not sure if Honest is being run in this deck, so it's going to be tough. I also don't see a Regal in his deck, or Regal. Regal really important in this matchup because it is your only out to Winda if you're not playing Honest. Regal boosts a monster's attack by 500, I believe, or 1,000, I don't remember. But it boosts Altair over Winda, which pretty much means you go Altair, summon Regal, and then Altair attack over Winda. But we're going to see a Thunder King pass. So Thunder King is being main decked. It's one of the things I saw last game. And interesting. This game pretty much seems to be pretty solid right now for the Shaddoll player. I'd like to see Falco flipped first to see if he can bait out a Fiendish Chain or a Vanities or something along those lines. It's pretty safe to assume one of the 2 set cards is an effect negation, but we will see. The Satel Knight list that I most commonly see is 3 Breakthrough, 3 Fiendish, 2 Breakthrough. So there's a chance. I would like to see it not actually used on Falco, but it could be baited out. Yeah. When a Satel Knight player doesn't have his loop going of just Altair, Dayneb, add Altair, Dayneb, add Altair, and start gaining advantage of monsters, right now it's really rough because if Corey's not drawing into Satel Knights, he could be at a huge disadvantage just with the amount of plusing Jack. Ooh, Mind Control. That's interesting. I would definitely not suspect Mind Control to be played in a Satel Knight or in a Shaddoll list, especially. It's actually not that wild, but the fact that rank 4 plays are probably not gonna happen, and I doubt there's a level 9 synchro or a level 6 synchro in the extra deck for Albion. Alright, so as the two players are siding, actually, Corey admitted defeat at the end of the game, which I failed to record. But just seeing that there was no hope in sight, I guess he was going to go for construct. So we're going to see siding. I know Corey sides Shadow Imps. I can actually pull up their... Actually, no, I can't pull up their lists. But in the future I will. Albion, probably not sure he's playing. I'd love to see Flying Seas. Maybe relevant, maybe not. One of the big things to note about this tournament is players knew what decks their opponents were playing going into the tournament, and also what their deck lists were. So, big advantage. There were some meta decks, some not meta decks, so if I was personally playing the tournament, I'd have built a side deck for the meta. But short of that, we will see. I'm not sure if we're enforcing the 2-minute side rule or not. I started recording about 2 minutes into the siding already. But things Corey plays. Off the top of my head, probably Shadow Imps will be being put in. Other than that, not exactly sure. And we'll go into game 2.